Am I the a-hole for calling out my sister for treating her child better than me? My sister has taken my brothers and I in when we were just 4 female, 5 female, and 6 male, and she was only 19 at a time and did sacrifice a lot for us, including her boyfriend she's been with since she was 12, who broke up with her when he found out that she'd been applying for custody of us because he wasn't ready to take on such a responsibility. My sister at one point in time was working 3 jobs to even be able to provide for us, so we've never went without food or clothes or even toys. But the one thing I went without was growing up in a nurturing environment. My sister was always stressed and irritable. I also felt like she had resentment towards us at times for having to be stuck with us rather than pursuing her dreams. Like, for example, if we did something as small as spilling a glass of milk or breaking something, she'd have an overreaction, yell and lecture us about how hard she works to get it, and how we need to stop being so careless even if it was just an accident. My sister is now doing much better in life and no longer have to work and is happily married. She has a 2-year-old and is pregnant with her second. I saw how she treats them and I can tell she loves them very much. I even watched her toddler spill a glass of milk, and she was so calm and loving about it. She even jumped on this new gentle parenting trend. She wasn't like that with me, so I called her out on it in front of my brothers and her husband. I told her that it's unfair that I didn't get the gentle side of her. Rather, I got the harsh and cold side of her when I, now 17, was just a child. She was shocked to hear me say that, and started crying, saying she did her best with what she had. My brothers surprisingly stood up for her and told me that if she's that bad, then why am I still living with her? And that she was an amazing caretaker and took us when our mother abandoned us. So how could I be so selfish and accused her of any less? It got really contentious, so my sister ended up excusing herself to her room. But in the end, my brothers, whom I'm really close to, are angry with me. So now I'm here wondering if I was wrong for calling my sister out. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Your sister dropped her whole life at 19 to take care of 3 kids? I understand being upset at having a less than perfect childhood, but childhood doesn't magically stop at 18. She was still a kid when she was taking care of you 3. Of course she was stressed and having major difficulty. And now you're looking at her, finally being an adult without a frantic panic, and you resent her for now having the support to take care of her children the way she wants to? OP, respectfully, you suck. You're the a-hole. I wanted to add, her other option is that she didn't take her younger siblings in and they were placed in a foster home. You should be praising your sister for her selfless sacrifice she made for you all. Instead, you criticized her for her lack of patience with you and your siblings during that difficult time. You need an enlightenment to appreciate what you have, instead of being focused on what you didn't have. You're the a-hole. Let's recap. At 19, your sister took sole custodianship of her 3 siblings. A task that very few 19-year-olds would even be capable of, let alone willing to do. From your description, she basically ended herself making sure you all got by, and apparently did well enough that you were still around, and that she was able to finally start focusing on herself and starting her own family after giving up all of her 20s for you. And you're calling her out for not being perfect at a huge responsibility that she never should have had to take on in the first place? I hope this is fake because I'm absolutely disgusted by it. The only excuse here is that you're still too young to fully understand the weight of this kind of responsibility. Think about it this way. In 2 years, would you be ready to fully care for 3 young children and provide for them while not being stressed out? If not, then go apologize. Exactly. And at 19, who has a 100% perfect handle on themselves all of the time? 19-year-olds in normal situations sometimes let their tempers get to them. Although, in my opinion, sister still sounds like she kept a handle on it. This 19-year-old was under an amount of stress that some people on this planet will never experience. Who could have expected her to do everything exactly right? Some full-grown adults can't practice that kind of patience. Of course, now that she's 15 years older, things are different. That's how it would be for any of us. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting my daughter a hotel room entirely for herself after her stepsisters made her sleep on the floor? My dad passed away 2 weeks ago. So me, my wife Candace, and my daughters 16 Shiloh and her stepsisters 19 and 17 flew to my hometown to attend a funeral. After that, we got 2 hotel rooms, one for me and Candace, one for the girls. While I was in the room, I got a call from Shiloh at 11 p.m. crying. and sounded like she was arguing with her stepsisters. I asked what the matter was, and she told me that her stepsisters insisted that she sleep on the floor, though there was one large bed in the room and there was enough space for all 3 girls to sleep on. I asked why, and she said she didn't know. I went to see what the issue was and talked with my stepdaughters about it. They kept talking, but didn't really explain why they told her to sleep on the floor. They just shrugged and said, "It's better this way. We're more comfortable this way." I told Shiloh to grab her things, and when one of my stepdaughters asked where we were going, I told her I was booking her a hotel room. Both looked upset, but didn't say anything. But they must have called their mom, because she was awake when I got back and started arguing with me about giving Shiloh an entire hotel room for herself. I explained why I did it, but she said I wasted money and that Shiloh could have sucked it up for one night on the floor. I called her unreasonable for saying this, but she told me I showed the girls that I'm playing favorites and made my stepdaughter share a room while I gave my daughter an entire room for herself. We went home and Candace is still bringing it up, saying I mishandled this. She even pointed out how my stepdaughters are upset since they're not speaking to me. Edited to add, it was Candace who got a room for the 3 girls as to not stir any drama and save money. She was in charge of hotel reservations since I was emotionally distressed. Also, Candace did not expect Shiloh to sleep on the floor. She wanted all 3 girls to share the bed. For those that are calling me an a-hole for giving my daughter her name, her mom did that, and she's deceased, so please let's not focus on that. And also, I've known my stepdaughters since they were little. We're pretty much family, and Candace is a stay-at-home mom, but I give her full access to my money, since this stuff was already discussed beforehand. Pretty much everything was. What I'm getting from this is that your stepdaughters were trying to live up to the Disney depiction of stepsisters, and were shocked when they couldn't just bully her into getting what they want. What's extra gross is that they did it when coming back from Shiloh's grandparents' funeral. Talk about cruel. You're definitely not a a-hole. But also, what the heck is wrong with Candace if she sees this as playing favorites? Her daughters tried to make yours sleep on the floor for fun. Sounds like the apples don't fall far from the tree. Have you pointed out your daughter is also upset because of the situation and she is playing favorites? Worse, the stepsisters got what they wanted, but were upset that the person who they took advantage of was accommodated. Not the a-hole. Candace is the one playing favorites. Expecting your daughter to sleep on the floor is some Cinderella-type stuff. Maybe pull your daughter aside and find out if this is the only thing they've done to treat her badly. Not the a-hole in this right here. What else is going on between the 2 girls and Opie's daughter that maybe he isn't aware of? I'm sorry, but my daughter is 15 and let me tell you, expecting 3 teenagers to share one queen-size bed is ludicrous. You were returning from the funeral of your father and your daughter's grandfather, and these 2 Disney princesses thought it would be okay to make your daughter sleep on the floor? Disgusting. If the point was not sharing a bed, the extra hotel room would have made sense. If they just wanted to mess with her, that ruins it, which is why they were mad. Not the a-hole. If playing favorites means your grieving daughter is not to be unnecessarily subjected to her evil stepsister's bullying, then yeah, own it with pride. How long have you been married? Your wife is an a-hole and doesn't care if you and your daughter are grieving. She's making more problems with her brats and accusing you and your daughter of being the problem. She's still bringing up weeks later how you mishandled this and saying as proof of that is the older brats are upset? Time for some serious thinking. Next story. Am I the a-hole for freezing out my step-family because of what they said about my mom? I'm 16 female and my mom died 3 years ago. She had a rough life growing up and had a lot of mental fallout from that, but she was a good person and did her best. My dad moved on really quickly, like 3 months after the funeral, and married Kate a year ago. I'll be honest, I really dislike Kate and her 2 oldest kids, 13 male and 12 female. I do like the youngest, Mark, 9 male, and that's really the only good thing about the situation. He gets bullied by the older 2 on the regular, so I let him hang out in my room most of the time and he talks to me about stuff. Kate's family visited for Christmas. This time of year is rough because it's when my mom died, so I didn't feel much like socializing, so I stayed in my room a lot. Kate's family made some comments about it and my dad kept trying to get me to come out and do things, but I just didn't want to be around them. Mark came into my room on Christmas Eve looking like he was about to cry and gave me a hug. He said he didn't think my mom was a bad person and he didn't want me to go anywhere. Turns out that when I turned down playing games and went to my room after dinner, Kate and her family talked about me and said I was going to be just like my mom, and some things about her that I can't repeat. Mark overheard it and got upset. Mad isn't a strong enough word, but I calmed Mark down and the next morning refused to come out to open presents. I told my dad what Mark told me without mentioning that it was Mark who told me, and he said we would talk about it later after they left. I told him I didn't want to see them. Finally, he made me go downstairs, but I just sat in silence and only unwrapped my gift from Mark. It was really awkward. Kate tried to talk to me to find out what was wrong, and I ignored her and went back to my room. I haven't spoken to her since, and I avoid the older kids. My dad says that while what they said was wrong, it's my own fault for eavesdropping, and I was unnecessarily rude. I still haven't opened my presents, and he threatened to take them back, and I said go ahead. Kate apologized, but I know she's only sorry she got caught. The only one who doesn't think I am an a-hole is Mark, and he got in trouble for talking back to his mom over the whole thing, so now I feel bad. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I am so sorry for your loss, and that your father is completely failing to protect you. You deserve so much better than a dad who doesn't take your grief seriously and lets his new family crap talk you. This. Opie's father is a complete failure and should be ashamed of himself. His new wife is a horrible mother to allow one of her children to be harassed like this, so he feels the need to hide in his stepsister's room. The fact Opie doesn't feel comfortable revealing Mark told her speaks volumes to me as well. The father and stepmother deserve each other. I hope Opie can keep being a good influence for Mark, and they both can get to a better place, physically, with healthy family members. Not the a-hole. Your dad is the a-hole for not being more sensitive to the fact that your mom died. He moved on quickly, and with a woman that does not respect you or your feelings. He basically chose her over you. I am so sorry, and you are 100% entitled to choose who you do and don't speak to. Keep in mind, though, that as long as you live with him, you're going to be subject to both him and your stepmom's rules. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself, but I don't want you to go so far as to make life that much harder on you and Mark for the rest of the time you'll be staying with them. Just keep that in mind. I'm so glad you have Mark and that he has you. Look out for each other. I don't think your dad is going to be standing up for either of you. On the other hand, maybe you do need to make bigger waves and help your dad see who he's truly married. Of course, it's not Opie's responsibility, but coming from someone that struggles to speak up and stand up for herself, I don't want her to think I'm telling her to not make waves / not say what she needs to say / keep it all inside. Not the a-hole. Blaming you for eavesdropping instead of confronting his wife about trashing his late wife and mother of his child is disgusting. He's a coward. You owe Kate nothing. Keep looking out for Mark when you can. Sounds like he's their scapegoat. Also, how is it eavesdropping if they said it in the main area of the house they were all hanging out in? Opie could have been coming out to go spend Christmas with them, and then heard that before coming around a corner or something. Definitely not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for correcting my uncle when he was wrong about his daughter's age and saying, what kind of father doesn't even know how old his child is? My uncle is neglecting my cousin Lily, 16 female. This started about 4 years ago when his wife died, and since then he's been withdrawn. He remarried 2 years ago and is obsessed with the stepchildren but completely ignores Lily. I'm 18 male and close with Lily. He just doesn't care about her. She can be away all day and come back at 3 a.m. and he wouldn't notice or care. At this point, he doesn't know her as a person at all. He forgot her birthday this year, but my sister and I, along with a few of Lily's friends, threw a small birthday party for her though. Last weekend on Saturday, my uncle was visiting us and was talking to my mom, his sister, about random stuff. And during this conversation, he mentioned that Lily's 15 and can handle whatever they were talking about. I overheard it and corrected him with, Lily's 16 as of 3 weeks ago. You forgot her birthday again just like last year. And then him and my mom went quiet. Then he said, yeah, he'll make it up to her. And I continued, what kind of father doesn't even know how old his own child is? And that I think made him quite upset as my mom asked me to apologize. I said, for what? Telling the truth? And left. I gave Lily the heads up about what happened and my uncle ended up trying to talk to her on Sunday night. He took his time, which didn't go well. He later called my mom and accused me of manufacturing the situation between him and Lily. And my mom is taking his side because she believes his parenting is none of my business. And I had no right to call him out on that, even if I believed I was right. Not the a-hole. Thank God Lily has Opie. I'm questioning why Lily's 18-year-old cousin is calling his uncle out and not the other adults in the family. It's clear that the neglect isn't being hidden, so why is the family okay with this? Opie is brave and actively showing his love and care for his cousin, and there is nothing wrong with that at all. The adults like to keep up appearances to the outsiders. As long as Lily isn't a drug addict or in jail, they don't care about anything else. It sounds like this is an issue within your family, not just uncle. I'm sorry that Lily and you as a concerned cousin are dealing with this level of apathy and coldness from the adults in your family. I hope you both stick together and carve out lives and relationships in the future that offer you more than it seems your blood family is able to give. Good luck to you both. Not the a-hole. He's neglecting his daughter, and whilst I have empathy for his situations, it's been 4 years, and it's his responsibility to seek therapy and be a good father to his child. Yeah, he lost his wife and it sucks, but Lily also lost her mom. And he's her father. He should have been there for her instead of just pretending like she doesn't exist anymore. Not the a-hole. Your cousin needs someone to stand up for her, especially as her own father, her closest blood relative, is the problem. The fact that this behavior has been ongoing from the ages of 11 to 16 is shocking. Why has no one else in your family stepped in? It's one thing to allow time to grieve and another entirely to ignore parental neglect. Your uncle may be rejecting his daughter because she reminds him of his dead wife, but that's not an excuse. He needs to talk to someone, but make an effort to repair his relationship with his daughter before it's damaged beyond repair, assuming it isn't already. I think everyone just assumed he's recovering from his wife's death and he'll eventually get better.